If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. More law, less justice. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all the others. The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living. To live is to think. An unjust peace is better than just a war. Any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. The greatest pleasures are only narrowly separated from disgust. Glory follows virtue, as if it were its shadow. The higher we are placed, the more humbly we should walk. The safety of the people shall be the highest law. Friendship improves happiness and abates misery by the doubling of our joy and the dividing of our grief. It is not by muscle, speed, or physical dexterity that great things are achieved, but by reflection, force of character, and judgment. Nothing is more noble, nothing more venerable than fidelity. Faithfulness and truth are the most sacred excellences and endowments of the human mind. The sinews of war are infinite money. It is the peculiar quality of a fool to perceive the faults of others and forget his own. Live as brave men, and if fortune is adverse, front its blows with brave hearts. The enemy is within the gates. It is with our own luxury, our own folly, our own criminality that we have to contend. I prefer tongue-tied knowledge to ignorant loquacity. While there is life, there is hope. The wise are instructed by reason, average minds by experience, the stupid by necessity, and the brute by instinct. Silence is one of the great arts of conversation. Peace is liberty in tranquility. A home without books is a body without soul. When you have no basis for an argument, abuse the plaintiff. Brevity is a great charm for eloquence. Memory is the treasury and guardian of all things. To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. The countenance is the portrait of the soul, and the eyes mark its intentions. A man of courage is also full of faith. A A friend is, as it were, a second self. The function of wisdom is to discriminate between good and evil. Any man is liable to err. Only a fool persists in error. The pursuit even of the best things ought to be calm and tranquil. Love is the attempt to form a friendship inspired by beauty. A room without books is like a body without a soul. Nobody can give you wiser advice than yourself. The precepts of the law are these: to live honestly, to injure no one, and to give everyone else his due. The harvest of old age is the recollection and abundance of blessing previously secured. Never go to excess, but let moderation be your guide. Cultivation to the mind is as necessary as food to the body. Laws are silent in time of war. In a republic, this rule ought to be observed, that the majority should not have the predominant power. The greater the difficulty, the greater the glory. What nobler employment or more valuable to the state than that of a man who instructs the rising generation? Take from a man his reputation for probity, and the more shrewd and clever he is, the more hated and mistrusted he becomes. What then is freedom? The power to live as one wishes. If you pursue good with labor, the labor passes away, but the good remains. If you pursue evil with pleasure, the pleasure passes away, and the evil remains. Next to God, we are nothing. To God, we are everything. No one can give you better advice than yourself. Natural ability without education has more often attained to glory and virtue than education without natural ability. It is foolish to tear one's hair in grief, as though sorrow would be made less by baldness. It is the nature of every person to err, but only the fool preserves in error. Knowledge which is divorced from justice may be called cunning rather than wisdom. If we are not ashamed to think it, we should not be ashamed to say it. Death is not natural for a state as it is for a human being, for whom death is not only necessary, but frequently even desirable. Never injure a friend, even in jest. Rightly defined philosophy is simply the love of wisdom. Justice consists in doing no injury to men, decency in giving them no offense. There is nothing so absurd than some philosopher has not already said it. Just as the soul fills the body, so God fills the world. Just as the soul bears the body, so God endures the world. Just as the soul sees but not seen, so God sees but is not seen. Just as the soul feeds the body, so God gives food to the world.